So I'm about to deadlift close to 500 pounds, and 3 years ago, I couldn't even look at a barbell without getting anxiety in my chest because I was dealing with chronic back pain. And I tried everything during that time. You know, I saw the doctor, the chiro, the osteo, the physio, everyone telling me different things, and it just led to me spiraling out of control with no answers and no solutions. I was also Googling stuff, you know, trying the glute bridges and the core work, and nothing seemed to work. I'm a kinesiologist. I've been working in the field for around 10, 11 years now. I've dealt with my own back pain. I've helped others deal with back pain. And what I personally like to use is 4 progressions, which looks different for everyone. So keep in mind, this is just a base template that you can feel free to use on your own journey from recovering from back pain. Progression 1, you can literally do seated right now in your chair. Let me show you what that looks like. So you're gonna grab any chair, any bench, whatever's comfortable for you. You're gonna be seated just like this, feet a little bit wider. And what you're gonna do, you're gonna place your hands just on the knees, just like this here. And I want you to lean forward just like this while keeping the back straight. Now you don't wanna be rounding forward like this. You wanna keep the back straight, keeping the hips nice and steady and solid on the bench over here, not lifting up the hips either. And if you get that right, you should feel a pull in the back of the leg, maybe a little bit of the glute. And what this is gonna do, it's gonna teach you how to properly hinge through the hips so that when you're doing a deadlift, you're not gonna be rounding the back and forcing the movement through your back, which isn't a bad thing per se, but if we overstress the back, that could cause some pain sensitivity for some folks. So what we wanna first start off with is this hip hinge, you know, leaning forward, back straight, feel the pull in the glutes and the hamstrings, and then come back up like this. So once again, what we wanna do, you know, feet wide, just like this, back straight, leaning forward like this, I feel the pull in the hamstrings, a little bit of the glute, and then I come back just like this. Super, super simple. My grandma could do this too. Progression number 2 is gonna be a single leg, hand-supported Romanian deadlift. I love this exercise because what it's gonna do, it's gonna drive a little bit more rotation in your hips. So if you're someone who's missing rotation and mobility in the hips, this is actually gonna help with that. And also, by doing it on one leg, you're gonna limit the amount of load that you're placing on your body, which might make you feel better because adding load right now doesn't feel too good on your back. Let me break that down for you. So what we're gonna do, if I'm working my left leg, I'm gonna hold the weight in the opposite hand, so my right hand, and I'm gonna place my left hand on the rack or something steady over here. Now, I'm gonna lift up my right foot just like this, and I'm going to kick that right foot back and bring the weight down towards the foot, just like this, and then drive through the foot. Now, a couple of key points here. You wanna keep your nose in line with your knee, in line with your big toe. And when you're kicking that leg back, I want you to think like that leg is trying to touch the back wall and not as if you're just pitching your body forward down to the ground. So let's break that down one more time over here. Sturdy, just like this. Toes are pointed forward. I'm going to kick back just like this. I feel a massive pull in the hamstrings and the glute. I push through the front foot and then I come up at the top just like this. You can work with anywhere between 8 to 10 reps on each leg, 2 to 3 sets to start. What I also like about this exercise is you're gonna be able to see some imbalances between either the left side or the right side of your body. So you could really point out where someone is struggling and then really tackle that on. So we can have a little bit more strength and control on that side. And when you're doing this movement, you shouldn't feel anything in the lower back. You should just feel the glutes and the hamstrings working. So if you are feeling something in the lower back, recheck how you're doing the movement. The best way to do this is to film yourself. Don't be that person who's looking in the mirror like this when they're doing their deadlifts. You're gonna crank your neck. We don't want that to happen. What you wanna do, film the movement, make sure that you're properly hinging through the hips, keeping that back straight, feeling the pull in the hamstrings, glutes, and that should get the job done. And once this is feeling pretty good, now we could start loading 2 legs at a time and getting you closer back to conventional deadlifts. All right, so progression number 3 is gonna be elevated trap bar deadlifts. And I love this exercise because what the trap bar is gonna do, it's gonna keep your center of mass inside the bar just like this over here, instead of conventional deadlifts where the bar is out in front of you, it's gonna put a little bit more shear force on the back, which isn't a bad thing per se, but if you are dealing with pain, might be a little bit too much for you to handle right now. Now, also the elevated position is gonna limit the amount that you're bending down, which may also be helpful for you if you're struggling with getting some depth in the deadlift position here. So what we're gonna do is, I'm using plates right over here. You could use anything that's sturdy. You're gonna hinge at the hips just like we did before with that hip hinge exercise. So hinging back just like this, you're gonna feel a pull in the hamstrings, a little bit in the glute, keeping the back nice and straight. Hinge back just like this here, feeling that pull, hands to the side just like this. Now, you wanna keep this part of the bar in line with the heel. So I see some people, the bar's way too out in front of them, which is gonna cause a little bit more of that force, that shear force on the back, which might be irritable for some people. So hinging back just like this, feet not too wide, grab on just like this. Now I want you to exhale all the air out of your body. Just like this, you're gonna feel your rib cage come down. You're gonna feel some abs at the end of the exhale. You're gonna take a breath in, keep those abs engaged. Then you're going to push through the floor and stand up. And then come back down just like this. Now, a couple of things to take note of. You are pushing through the feet to stand up. You're not pulling the bar. That's a common mistake I see as well too. So you're pushing into the ground to stand up, and your eyes should be looking just ahead of you over here. So once again, hinging back, just like this. Ribs come down, feel the abs, inhale. Drive through the floor and come up. So I'm not pulling the bar like this, I'm pushing through the ground. And then come back down just like this. So the next progression would be simply removing the plate, which is gonna force me to get more depth and gonna be a little bit more challenging as well too. All right, so progression number 4 is gonna be elevated deadlifts, the exact same thing we were doing before, but now we're getting back to conventional deadlifts over here. So it's the same concept. Let me walk you through a couple of cues. Now, if you're someone who prefers sumo, by all means go for it. You could put your feet wider. If you prefer, conventional style, whatever floats your boat, I don't care in this case, do what's comfortable for you. For me, I'm gonna do it more conventional style. So we're gonna place the feet, just a couple of inches in front of the bar over here. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna hinge through the hips once again, just like we did before, grabbing the bar just on the outside of the shin over here. Same cues as before. We're gonna exhale, all the air out. What you wanna do is you wanna really feel those ribs come down and feel the abs at the end of the exhale. So feel the abs at the end of the exhale, inhale, and then drive through the ground and stand up, looking straight ahead of you over here, and then control back on the way down. There are some people who cue, get your arms in your back pocket to engage the lats a little bit more. I find that's a cue that works for some people and completely messes up some other people. So if that helps you engage your lat muscles for a little bit more stability in the back, by all means go for it. Now, when we're doing this elevated conventional deadlift, and this is feeling great, we're gonna wanna once again remove the plates on the bottom, and then we're gonna get right back to that conventional deadlift. Now keep in mind, we wanna keep pain very low at this point. So if you're still dealing with a higher intensity of pain in this case, I'd likely revert back to the trap bar or work on that hinge pattern. But if your pain is feeling really, really good, so you have like minimal pain to close to zero pain, by all means, you can keep progressing with this. If we're keeping pain at around, 3, 2, 1, 0 on 10, you got the green light to move forward with this. But if you're dealing with, a 5, 6, 7, I would say that's a little bit more of a yellow light, and you just have to take a little bit more caution before going into the next progression or adding any load. If your pain is around a 7 or higher, I would stop in this case and reassess. or work back down the progression model that I talked about. So if it is, that's a sign that you pushed way too much, and once again, reassess. So if you're someone who's really struggling right now, start off with the first progression. If you're someone who feels pretty confident in getting that hip hinge, maybe start with progression 2 and work your way up from there. That's all I got for today, guys. I hope you found this helpful. If you are a lifter, someone active who loves training, who is struggling right now due to pain, I highly recommend you check out the free training that I filmed in the description below. It explains my process and how I help other lifters use training as a healing tool to get back to training completely pain-free. So if that sounds like you, click the link below in the description, and I'll see you next time.